Hello, viewers. Welcome to yet another interesting episode of the program Sports Preview on Buwa Community Voice. Interested to let you know that we are wishing you the compliments of the season and a happy new month to you. Welcome to the month of December, the very last month of the year 2025. Amazing that the Premier League is hitting on all cylinders with the Premier League Week 14 here and gone. We are getting into the week 15, where it is getting a little bit serious in the Premier League. In fact, week 14 came with lots and lots of shocking results. With Leeds United getting all 3 points in that game against Chelsea, who managed good results against Barca, and of course Arsenal. We saw Liverpool draw again to take it as much as 4 games at home without a win. Very disappointing for Anderson, but a lot of persons are saying that his sack is very much imminent. We'll look at all of that and talk about the games coming through for week 15. That promises to be as hot as anything you can imagine. My name is Oji Ofia, the double O. Yes, don't forget that the program is proudly sponsored by our friends at MaxBet. Yes, you can get all of the amazing things that comes from MaxBet when you visit www.maxbet.ng. There's amazing bonuses there up for grabs. So welcome on top this one. I won't be playing this alone. I have flanked with the one and only Pomfrey Joe and the most beautiful lady in the house. I'm talking about the one and only Chiwendo. Joe, it's always good to have you. I'm glad we are doing this. We are progressing. Week 15 is here with us, and week 15 promises to be interesting in the Premier League, proudly sponsored by our friends at MaxBet. Aston Villa and the Villa Park plays host to Arsenal. We'll see AFC Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium to host Chelsea. Everton under the one and only very, very strong David Moyes will play host to Nottingham Forest. And we all know what is happening at Nottingham Forest. Revamp is happening under Shandaj. He's showing why he's a top manager in the Premier League. Manchester City will be hoping that they will continue escaping with those narrow results to keep putting a little pressure on Arsenal when they take on Sunderland. I feel like Sunderland are the giant killers of the season. I will talk about them also on the show because there is a lot of players who are going for the African Cup of Nations in that team. We're talking about 6 to 7 key players of that squad leaving for the AFCON by probably next week. We look at also Newcastle who takes on Burnley. Tottenham Hotspur will battle Brentford. An interesting fixture also. Leeds United up against Liverpool. I will give Leeds United the hope that they can do what they've done to Chelsea in the last time out. Sunday will be coming with more and more baggages as Brighton takes on West Ham United. Fulham will do battle with Crystal Palace. So we'll just start off with the Arsenal game up against Aston Villa. It's an early kickoff as early as 1:30 Nigerian time. That game will be coming to our screens. And we all know that Arsenal is widening the gap. They are getting better every other game at day. In fact, it's looking like it's their season. And some players are saying that they've even added some spirituality to it by a lot of players that have been going on with the likes of Eze, the likes of Saliba, and all of that. So, but we look at this Aston Villa team and what they've been able to do this season, and talk about what we are to expect when they go toe-to-toe with Arsenal.
Really, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Arsenal. I had to look at and yeah, the Arsenal fan here. But Arsenal, Aston Villa. I mean, Emery. Let's not forget that he was the coach of Arsenal before he was let go. And ever since he took over the affairs of Aston Villa, when Steven Gerrard nearly pushed them to where they are not supposed to be, he has brought that formidable side. He has made them a little bit competitive. I mean, they are playing in the Europa right now. So that's to show you that there's something that in an Emery, I mean, they're playing in the UEFA Champions League. So it shows that Emery is doing a good job with this Aston Villa. And remember, he has broken the record 62 wins as the manager of Aston Villa. I mean, I will not take it away from him doing a good job, but this same Emery, he's not a consistent coach. I mean, Liverpool was struggling and they went to go play against Aston Villa, they won. And for me, I've looked at his records of late. I won't really say that he has been consistent this season, struggling here and there, but you just know that Aston Villa is just the Aston Villa. You can't take it away from them. But you're talking about an Arsenal side who have been consistent, who are trying their possible best to get a hold of the trophy this season, and they have been doing it with the addition of players that they brought into the squad. And I mean, Mikel Arteta is doing something even without their key mans in the squad. They have been able to get a result against Chelsea. Did it also in their last match. So I mean, when people were saying that it will not be the season for Arsenal, but I think it's getting tougher and tougher, and we're beginning to see that Arsenal have something. They want to achieve something this season, and it is clear, visible that they are working towards it. So I mean, Saliba was not in their last match. At the end of the day, what happened? Against Chelsea, Saliba was not there, Gabriel was not there. They said that the defense would be nothing to write them about. But Mosquera were able to handle the pressure that came with Chelsea, and eventually they got up with a point in that game. So for me, I think Arsenal, they have something upstairs. Mikel Arteta is doing something with this squad. And anytime, any day, I would like to sit on the defense, but I think the good managers are proving themselves in this league that they are here to stay.
Yeah, very well. Aston Villa are in the top three of the Premier League at the moment. It's not surprising. There's a lot of hard work to do that with the kind of squad that they've got. Arsenal, they've won 5 of their last 8 head-to-heads, drawing 1, losing 2, while 4 of the last 6 meetings here produces exactly 1 goal. Villa winning 3 and losing 3. What are you expecting when it's too
I'll just pray. Like I said before this program, I said, I pray what happened last season and last 2 seasons don't happen, because it's as if it's a December thing for Arsenal, Aston Villa. Every December, you see these 2 teams clashing. And once you can determine what happens to Arsenal's title race. So I pray and I hope that the Arsenal team of this season.
You're using the program as a prayer session.
No, it's not a prayer session.
For
you should understand what I mean when I say I hope and I pray that the thing that is going well for Arsenal, that this team doesn't come to give us a sour.
What is going on with Arsenal? I feel like we need to talk about it. Villa are yet to score in the opening 15 minutes of this league season. We also look at Villa, who've kept 3 consecutive clean sheets at home in the Premier League, last achieving 4 in the March, April of 2023. Arsenal have won all 8 league games in which they've been leading at halftime this season. Arsenal haven't scored in both halves of any of their 7 league games this season. And find it hard to score in both halves. And I feel like football is a game of 2 halves. They've been grinding out results, but they need to stay consistent. What is that thing that is working for Arsenal?
I think what is working for Arsenal is like, it's as if the defense system of Arsenal has proven to be a collective effort. Both the midfield, like the last game against Chelsea, you see an attacking force coming back in the person of Moreno, coming back to defend in some places. So you start to wonder that this is current form Arsenal is not just on a one person team. It's now a collective effort. So I just hope that Aston Villa at Villa Park we don't lose that collective effort, because we have, presently Jesus is back. So I think an additional force in that front line for Arsenal. I hope
they don't really missing the races.
We're not missing him, but
like
even your parents is not even missed.
I feel like they will love whatever they can get right now, because you don't know what will happen the next minute.
That's why I said that December has always been the problem of Arsenal.
I feel like
Mikel Arteta is doing a good job as the makeshift number 9. Okay. So I don't think they really miss Jesus. I mean, Gyökeres himself, they will keep Gyökeres on the bench and start a Miguel Moreno, who is not a striker. That shows that
I totally doubt if he gets back, if he's going to sit on the bench.
Gyökeres in their last game against Chelsea, he was sitting on the bench.
Even the last match, he sat on the bench.
I feel like,
He came out.
I feel like he's still battling fitness.
Yes, so what?
He gets back
But
to
what?
fitness. Merino will be needed maybe behind him than they needed standing up there. But all of that is hell-bent on what Mikel Arteta will decide as it is. Let's talk about Arsenal's 8 clean sheets from the 10 that they've played. You look at that team and from the judgment in the 14 games played, is it their title yet?
Because I want to sit on the defense because after I'm really disappointed. A lot of
times that they've done it.
Because I was sitting down here, I think one certain time last year was talking about how it's the time and all of a sudden it is
the elephant fell down from my chest.
So I will not release. I don't want to judge.
No, I'm not
I don't want to
defending
judge.
anyone. That's why I said December has always been the problem. If Arsenal can manage, we played 2 games and it's not a game this December and we won it. If we can play the remaining 4 games in this December and get as a point out of this, get at least 10 points out of each. If getting 10 points in this December will make a lot of difference for Arsenal, not dropping much points.
But that's small. 10 from a possible 4. And remember, they are just 5 points above the log, and City are not looking like a team to lose out. So I feel like with 5 points is equivalent to drawing and losing 1 game, and it's all done. So it's still a very, very long road to start talking about. I feel like December is not all about it. We have a lot to go because
for me, when you get to March next year and they are still keeping it, I will now know that they are trying to
it's
control.
more than 5 points. 5 points.
No, not with 5 points. Because Liverpool didn't do it with 5 points. Every team, okay. I mean, Liverpool, between Liverpool and Manchester City, I mean, we have seen that Manchester City have won the league with 1 point.
Against us, that was against us.
What I'm saying is,
So it's possible.
when you're going against the number and you're getting with 5 points and you're not confident, what happens when it comes out to it's going to be more pressure. And pressure is what determines where the cookie will crack from. It determines where the pendulum will swing because trust me, they're winning this game because the pressure is kind of less. When the points, the gaps keep closing, that's when you understand. Just like the top four places, or say the top 5 or the top 6 places are beginning to take its dimension. Teams are beginning to understand that we need to start going for it now. And how do you go for it? Win games. So they've done well defending. And I feel like if they can defend what they've been defending all season, then they can have a claim to say.
I mean, by next year, Gabriel will be back. I don't know what's wrong with Saliba not being consistent, but maybe from January they'll be going to get another defender because Arsenal, they are not really. One thing I love about Mikel Arteta this season is he's not joking with the kind of quality he's bringing into the squad. He has not done it before since his arrival as the manager of Arsenal. This season, he looks more serious. He's going to where the issue is and fixing it and making sure there's no repeat of what happened last season to repeat itself again, because we saw that immediately Gabriel got injured, Saliba, it was a whole lot of difference with the squad. But now we can see that the stability is still there. Gabriel or no Gabriel, Saliba or no Saliba, the stability is still there.
He made good choices with those replacements.
Yeah.
We must comment on Mendy, we must talk about Mosquera. Like I feel like the additions, the confidence of your Premier League first season is as loud as anything you can imagine for these defenders, and I feel like that's why it's working. Then we must also point out that Liverpool were champions last season, for example, because other teams did not come to the party. So I feel like this season also, other teams are not in the party. That's why Leeds United is beating Chelsea. That's why Liverpool have defended titles and they've got 4 games without getting a win at home. That's where you win the league from. Capitalize on the errors from other teams. Like, you don't need to be extra fantastic. Just make sure you pick those points when they don't. And I feel like the only contender at the moment for that league title is City. And if
They are
anything,
not. Man City is not even being. They are
They're
not.
not even
yes, that's what I'm
they're not
saying.
consistent
So
because
if anything, if any banana peel thing happens with City and this point gets widened to say 8, 9, and 10, then we can't be singing the hymn for Arsenal. But let's talk about AFC Bournemouth. They will be taking on Chelsea. And Bournemouth will be desperate to improve on their very poor recent Premier League form as Chelsea visits on the back of a shocking defeat in the midweek. Very, very shocking. Kobama came back. The Chelsea fans were calling, get him in. And we saw in some other Sky making statements like, because we beat Barcelona, get a good game against Arsenal, doesn't mean we must win every time. And I feel like that's not the mentality of the manager that wants to win the league. I was listening. I always like to make reference to a Buwa podcast because I love how real it is. Because Miguel talks about things from the first-hand experience. How Mourinho can come in just after losing the game and not speak to anyone. Just stay up and watch them run around, and that the big boss is angry. They will rally around, Lampard, the big boy, DJ Drogba. They will start thinking about how to get out of the hot mess and all. If the coach says in the press conference, we can lose, we're not there yet, you can't challenge for the title like that. What was the last time Chelsea won the league? And it's beginning to take as long as anything you can imagine.
but presently they stand as the world giant, you understand? And the world giant.
That's what I'm saying. If you're the world giant and you're
come
beaten by Leeds United in the league,
No, I think what Enzo Maresca for me is every manager cannot be like Mourinho or all that, or the coaches that are disciplined like that. But I know every manager cannot be like them. But I think what Maresca is doing is rebuilding, and rebuilding does not take. It's a phase. Manchester United is in that phase now. It's a rebuilding process, and
since which year?
You know,
2013.
not since Ferguson left Manchester United, it was as if a structure was broken and another structure is going to merge. And if you want to get a very solid structure, it will take years. But I don't know why it's taking this much for Manchester United. But I feel what is happening to Chelsea is from the arrival of Frank Lampard, that was when the rebuilding started. They are beginning to rebuild with younger generation. This younger generation, they will nurture them to become legend one day. So I think Maresca is trying his best to see how he can raise these players to become formidable. But for me, I don't think Maresca is that such an exceptional coach that can really stay with Chelsea and get what they really want. Because for me, Chelsea is a big club, and big club deserve, when you're coming into Chelsea, that feel, just as is happening to Manchester United, when you're coming to a club that has this aura, they are known for this, they are big. When you're coming, there is this mentality that you come with from wherever you're coming. You don't know that this place is not where I'm coming from. This is a new face. This is a new place. This is a bigger space. But these players don't have that mentality, and the coach himself do not have it. You don't have, and nobody is restoring that mentality in the coach.
There's no leader.
But Bentley is not really interested in all of those things. His own is go get there, play, win trophies, win, and come out, we celebrate. No, we're talking about, we want to talk about the former owner of Chelsea. You're winning trophy. The next season you want to relax. He's telling you to go. That is the mentality, but they don't have it. So you cannot give what you don't have, and until they install it, and that same thing that is happening to Manchester United, until you install it and say this club is not where I'm coming from. This is a big club. My mentality must change. Even if I win yesterday, I'm expected to win tomorrow. That's the mentality these big boys are known for. Liverpool, Arsenal, these are the things we know them for. But it's no longer there.
It's not there, and I feel like it's leaving a lot of teams. Chelsea, the long they won the league. We've seen the same thing happen to Manchester United. Arsenal is as way back as 2003.
You can't even talk about Manchester United. In the next 5 years, they're not talking about Manchester United.
Exactly. So these are the things. One more, they are winless in their last 7 Premier League games against Chelsea. Directly losing 4, having won 3 of the prior 4 meetings. Chelsea have lost just 1 of their 8 trips to the Vitality Stadium, winning 5 and 22. I feel like it's a very good run for Chelsea.
You see, one thing about Premier League. Premier League comes with a different style of play. You can't say this is a giant in Premier League. You can, for a Leeds United to get a win, and you look at goal margin 3-1. It was as in shameful to a Chelsea that beat Barcelona and got a very good game against Arsenal with
10 man.
10 man. Got a very good game with Arsenal. But what I see is that the game against Arsenal was telling on them in their last match against
They put in a lot of
a lot of energy went into that Arsenal match, considering the issue of the red card, the straight red card against the.
And then there was a squad rotation.
No,
Yes.
that's what I was trying to say.
And then
That's the thing. That's the thing about the large squad. You can't be talking about fatigue because the squad is large.
Yeah, the squad is
the squad is like
but
what
you know what? Just like she said,
effective player.
Maresca is not the kind of coach that can manage this kind of team. You understand? See, you have players that can replace anybody at any time, but he's not making use of that. I'll make use of the word of CI0 that he's into this tumbom system of making players. Let me try this person here. Let me try this person here, and that is telling us.
He talked about it a couple of times that you've got a large squad and they are all big players and they are different teams and he wants to go to the World Cup and he needs everybody to play. I understand that part, and I think that's what he makes a case about the squad rotation. But what I'm talking about is that when you are getting the chance to play, there should be that mentality for you to know that you earn the right to play. If you're playing and you're not playing well,
You get to the bench.
and I can tell you that the reason you're not playing is because
You're not
blew
doing
your
enough.
last chance. And so as much as I'm going to rotate the score, it doesn't mean you're going to play because you're here. Then I get you into game. Just imagine the back pass. You put the keeper in a very bad
Tight condition.
where we are pushing on all attack to equalize. Fine, it's good to be confident in your back line to pass the ball around. That's what the coach says. But then think about what you're doing. How did we get there? So I feel like that needs to change. The team must be a big team that we respected. If this United will get all 3 points, Bournemouth will tell themselves we can do it. That's what it takes for a team to be in a tight corner, and that's what United are doing too. When you play now, when teams come to play Arsenal this season, they worry if they can get the goal, and that's what it takes to be a big team. That's what it takes to be a champion. Like pre-game, they just start discussing how do we get a goal. If we try and get a goal, we'll try and see if we can score one. Let's score them.
And defend.
That should be the conversation. And you're telling your team also, make sure you don't chip in this goal, because the only way you can lose a game is when your opponent score. So if they don't score, at the worst case, it can be a draw. You know, these are the dynamics that are around these things. But we'll see what he'll be able to do. I feel like he's doing a good job. What he's done, the boys have been together mentality that they can do anything. I think I enjoyed their play against Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup. I enjoyed what they've done to Barcelona. I just think it's about staying consistent, understanding. And I feel like what will bring this consistency is to have a perfect 11. Then let the players who are coming in and that they don't belong to the 11. If you want to belong to the 11,
You have to play well.
play well, prove yourself, earn the right to play. That's what it is. And I feel like if someone is injured and you're coming in to cover, be a good cover. Show why if this person even comes back, you sit on the bench. That is what Babadashvili should have done with the absence of Alisson. So you establish yourself as a goalkeeper in your own right that can do it. So let's talk about City, who takes on Sunderland. I feel like Xhaka and Sunderland, one exceptional team. In fact, against Liverpool.
I was thinking that Sunderland was going to take that necessary 2 points because you could see that they are playing Liverpool. Even the manager came out and said, we didn't believe that you can play like this against Liverpool, the champions of the league. Whether you like it or not, they are the champions until another champion emerges. So this season they have been poor, no doubt. But to play against the Sunderland that just coming from the championship, I think now are we going to now say that Sunderland are not in for a business? They are in for a business because They've done it with big teams. None of these big teams have been able to take a point from them. Against Chelsea, they won. Against Arsenal, they got the points, and now they play Liverpool, the champion, the supposed champions of the league. They got the points. That's to tell you that Sunderland is too early to be too excited for Sunderland. But I think for me, I have concluded that they're not going to be going back to the championship.
They're not now, not now that time.
Going back to the Champions League is something they will be expecting maybe in years to come. But presently, with what they are doing in the Premier League, I think they're giant killer. The only big team that has managed to get something out of them was Manchester United with that 2-0 win. After that, all the other big teams have become
Manchester
flop.
United, are you going to really?
No, I know. Once a big team, always a big team in the Premier League. You understand? They are the only team that has managed to get that win against Sunderland. At Arsenal, when Sunderland were playing Arsenal, it was as if Arsenal had lost that game.
Yes.
They won Chelsea comfortably. Against Liverpool, they got a goal first, also scored themselves. That is to say that they did a back-to-back for themselves.
I think they denied Lambert that thing.
Yeah, the one that VR cancelled in the first half of the
I feel like it wasn't on target. But let's talk about Sunderland. They've considered once in their last 3 Premier matches. That's how to play. And I feel like in their own rights, that they deserve all that they are getting. But do they stand the chance against City?
I don't think it's going to be very difficult
I don't think so.
against Pep Guardiola, because you know one thing about Pep Guardiola is that if you watch this Sunderland team, what they do is they come at you at this rushing game and try to destabilize you, make you make mistake, and then before you recover, you've gotten a goal. I think that's their method. But you don't play against Manchester City wanting to do that, because we have fast, sharp strikers. We have their midfielders are also very sharp. And so
I believe all these midfielders were there when they played Fulham and almost lost that game. If they were given extra 2 minutes in that game, they would lose that game. So for City, I think Sunderland has the same style of play like Fulham. The African system. They are always ready to run physical. The strength is there. So City should be watchful of that kind of.
But you know that this is the kind of thing. This is the kind of game Pep Guardiola shows that he is superior. I mean, I'm not going to. I will not see a Manchester City losing to Sunderland. You know why? Because at this point, it is now a matter of my prestige. The championship club will come to me.
Plus, making sure that they put enough pressure on Arsenal. I feel like every game is going to look like a league final for Pep. And this is the time he picks up. November, December, January, February. That's when he wins the league. It didn't work out for him last season. He started picking up ball. It was relatively late before they. Because the fact that they moved back into the Champions League places after those low performances last season speaks a body. No one saw it, but if you are a huge football fan, you will see that Pep is Pep. Notwithstanding. And this season, there's no Rodri, and they are charging for that title. So what happened? Ella Road is all the other things up on the program today. They will be hoping for a second high-profile win this week as Leeds United host Liverpool side whose respite after beating West Ham was short-lived. It's crazy that you can win the Premier League just the season before, near perfect, because it was a near perfect season for Arne Slot. In fact, in his first season in charge of a Premier League team that have been longing for another Premier League, because the Premier League title that they won under Jurgen was during the COVID-19. It was not sweet. The fans were there. They weren't there in their numbers. They had, it was 10,000 fans that were allowed when they lifted the trophy for the Merseyside Reds. And Slot put that name in leave, gave us Gravenberch, made us feel like Jurgen was not important. Like maybe Jurgen had just a good team, and they don't even need a coach to understudy. At the point, I started feeling like this could be the reason people like Sir Alex Ferguson did not want a replacement as good as they are. This is my private um, thinking. I was just going through it saying, oh, sometimes someone comes and just break all the. You know how many years it took Klopp to win the Premier League, and this man just in the very first season, just folding his hands, doing it. Now, this is the season that he brought in players and he's playing his game. In fact, last season it was Klopp that was in charge because it was a Klopp's team and it's not carefulness because he was very careful that he didn't want to take risk. So he left everything in the hands of the senior players. He begged Arnold to stay one more season, begged Salah to do it once more, and Salah had the best season of his career in the Premier League. That particular season. Now he's in a very bad place, and we heard rumors about 2 game ultimatum, and he drawn the one before this, and I feel like Leeds United is looking like a team that won't lose this game in front of home fans and Ella will
Yeah, for Leeds to get a win against Chelsea is a plus for them, and they will want to, repeat it in this game. And Liverpool is not a team you can bet upon this season with what is apparently happening there. It's not what you can bet upon. I was thinking maybe it was a problem of Salah, but Salah did not start the game against Sunderland. He came as a substitute, and when he came as a substitute, that was when they even started pushing forward, and pushing the attack. You don't get to understand that even the likes of their highest spending in the transfer window, which is the likes of Isak, is not giving them as if like for me. Let me not use the word that maybe Newcastle said, "Oh, since you want to go, oh yeah, go and let's see what you can do against Liverpool." I think that is the fate is really telling upon him now. He would have said, "Out, let me stay in Newcastle and do my team there." But for me, Leeds United is a team that you can bet upon that a Liverpool side that is dying now, they can make anything. Leeds can make anything work in their favor at home and their own fans. They can do everything just to get something out of that match. So I think I'm giving it to Leeds United.
Okay, Leeds United, the Liverpool are unbeaten in their last 13 league games against promoted clubs. They've been able to win 12 and draw 1. Liverpool, they've conceded first in 6 of their last 7 away matches. That's a poor one, and I feel like it's an away game once again, and they will be waiting to see what they can get. And it's quite a pity, but that's why we love the Premier League. We love the fact that it is very much unpredictable. Arsenal at the moment, after 14 games, have 33 points, top of the log, 5 points ahead of Manchester City, who got 28. I'll have Aston Villa in 27, Chelsea 24, Crystal Palace in 23, Sunderland in 23. Just goal difference separating Sunderland and Crystal Palace at 1 point behind Chelsea. Brighton on 22, United on 22. In fact, Sunderland and United have spent so much money, over 300 million in the last years to beef up that score. Liverpool are way below Sunderland, and Leeds United know that they need to move from that relegation, and that is what they are doing. 14 points that they've got, they are 17th on the log, and the win against Liverpool will further take them to more comfortable place, leaving West Ham, Burnley, and Wolverhampton Wanderers in that relegation. In fact, I think that Wolves will be relegated. Just 2 points in the last 14. It will only take a miracle to get that team to get rejuvenated. Burnley is looking like they're going back from where they came from. They still got a chance because a lot will still happen. Fulham are not performing at the capacity that they did last season. It's a pity, 17 points and they are 15th on the log. But the difference between Fulham and the rest of the other teams like Tottenham, who are 11th on the log, and Everton, who is 21, is not so much. So you just need to win games and get back. I think Bisama Chukwueze's form is quite unfortunate that Calvin Bassey, Iwobi, and Chukwueze will be leaving for the African Cup of Nations. So that would be a very, very huge tall order for Fulham and Marco Silva. So we'll see what happens. But just before we round it off on this one, Let's talk about predictions. Arsenal Villa versus Arsenal. I think I know what you have to say.
No,
Arsenal
yeah,
to win.
not Arsenal to win. I said before the game started, I'm afraid of the game, so I see a good goal in that
Okay,
match.
going to come. What's it?
I give it to Arsenal.
Arsenal to carry the day. Chelsea travel to the Vitality to take on the ball.
I'm giving it to Chelsea.
Okay, Chelsea going to straight away. No, I don't think Chelsea will be loving back-to-back loss and the Premier League.
Chelsea
Chelsea
straight
also. City on there, Sunderland.
I'm giving it to City. Even though Sunderland is not trouble, I'm giving it to City.
I see a good goal in that match.
Okay, okay. I for one feel like Sunderland will get at least a draw from that fixture. Tottenham takes on Brentford.
Tottenham straight win.
I'm giving it to Brentford.
Brentford, yeah, very well. I feel like Tottenham is one of the weakest sides in the league. Thomas Frank, the season doesn't begin. They are back to who they used to be. Leeds United up against Liverpool.
I'm giving it to Leeds United.
Leeds straight win.
Leeds to get a win. It's that time of and the year is December, and I feel like you might just need to visit our friends at MaxBet. www.maxbet.ng. Thank you so much for being there. Now you know what we do. Top-notch analysis just for you. I can't thank you enough. My man, for being a part of this one. It's an amazing time doing this with you, Chimando. And to you, the same was very much behind the camera. So thank you. And from all of us at Buwa Community Voice, we thank you and we urge you to make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Continue to what we do here. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.